Hey, what's going on, Who That Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast. And on this edition, I got a special guest with me. I have EJ Jones. What's going on, E?
What's up, Who That Nation? How y'all doing? Trying to get out of the shadows, put some more light. I won't be like last time.
And man, we appreciate it, man. Thank you for being a part of the show. We really do appreciate that. Thank you for taking the time out. And also to everybody in the chat and around the Who That Nation, thank you very much for tuning in. On this edition, we're going to be talking about the most underappreciated player probably in NFL. Talk about Cam Jordan. We're going to be talking about him. He's going to be the primary focus on this episode. And also, we just wrapped up the NFL Top 100, and we have Michael Thomas, who made the top 5. So we're going to be talking about that as well. And of course, like we do every single show, we're going to be taking questions from the Who That Nation. So if you have any questions about the team, all you have to do is comment, make a comment, and we'll read your comment, and we'll try to address as many as we possibly can on this show. But I do have an announcement before we get started. On Friday, we're going to do it around 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The special guest on the State of the Saints podcast will be New Orleans Saints senior writer John DeShazer. So I'm really excited about that. John DeShazer will be on the State of the Saints podcast. We're going to be talking to him about the New Orleans Saints, also, about training camp that's about to kick off next week. So if you're not doing anything, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, John DeShazer will be on the State of the Saints podcast. But we're going to go ahead and get started. Talk a little bit about Cam Jordan. You put a very interesting stat up this morning on your Facebook page. You put all of the stats that Cam Jordan had throughout his 9 seasons he had in the NFL, going into his 10th season. And one stat that stood out among them all was games played. Cam Jordan has never missed a game in the NFL. E, what do you think about Cam Jordan? And give us your thoughts on the fact that he's so durable all these years.
This might be a emphatic statement, but I think Cam Jordan have a chance to be the best Saint to ever put on a black and gold jersey. Mm-hmm. That's not excluding Drew Brees,
right,
Archie Manning, or any of the other Saints or whatever that played. I think he really do have a chance. I mean, you ask his teammates what kind of teammate he is. Nobody have a bad word to talk about him.
Right.
The dude never take a playoff, a game off. In 9 years, this dude's never missed a game.
Right.
I mean, it's hard for you to figure out what snaps that he missed. So he never missed a game. That's crazy. And just, how violent the NFL is for a defensive end. We're always getting hit in the head and slapped and cut blocked and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
That is very, very rare. Mm-hmm. And I guarantee you'd be hard pressed to go and find somebody in the history of the NFL to play 9 seasons. You can probably count on one hand how many of them it is who played that long and never missed a game. So I thought I had to post that on Facebook. I ain't believe it at first.
Right. I mean, especially at his position, man. He plays defensive end, and that's a position, that has a strong probability that you're going to get injured, man. There's not many defensive ends that play the entire season. I mean, let alone go 9 straight years without missing a football game. I wrote earlier, I said that Cam Jordan was the most underappreciated player probably in the NFL. He's a guy that stays consistent year after year. He has been one of the best defensive ends in all of football. And I don't know, for some apparent reason, he just became one of those players that people just look at as being a good run stopper and not a guy that was a good pass rush. But over the last couple of years, the last 3 years in particular, he has really stood out. And I feel like it's a shame, and the NFL should be embarrassed at the fact that this guy is never in the top 3 or the top 2 among mention for defensive player of the year. I mean, it's sad, And we were talking earlier off the air, as I was driving, we was on the phone. And I told you, I said, I feel like the defensive end position should have a leg up on a cornerback position. And I said that because, Stephon Gilmore won Defensive Player of the Year. And, I just feel like that's cool and all. I mean, Stephon Gilmore is an incredible player, and he does shut down half of the field. But there could be games where he doesn't even land in the stat column. If he doesn't land in the stat column, nobody says anything about that. But if a defensive end doesn't land in the stat column, then people are going to say that he's not good, he doesn't have the talent, or he's wasting money. But Cam Jordan is always consistent, and you never can say that he's not putting forth his best effort. I mean, he plays about 90+% of the plays every single Sunday. He rarely ever leaves the game. He plays both outside and inside, and he can switch from the left to the right end. There's sometimes where he can be on the left side or he can be on the right side. So I feel like he doesn't get the credit that he deserves to be. I mean, for being one of the best defensive ends in football. Hopefully, people will actually recognize how durable and how dependable he is, and hopefully, his name will be mentioned if he has another good season like he did last year, having 15 and a half sacks and a team that was 13-3. Hopefully, he'll get the attention he so rightfully deserves. So we're gonna. I want to say thank you to everybody in the chat right now. Special shout out to King Arthur. Also have Brian in there, Jerry Poor Jr., Casual Dex. Thank y'all, man, and we really do appreciate it. So we're gonna go ahead and start seeing some of these questions that we have. We're gonna start answering these, and I'm gonna start with Casual Dex here. He says, "What up, Who Dat Nation and TJ Jones, the host? What's going on, Casual?" King Arthur says, "Hey TJ, I know you got that video I sent you on IG of Drew slinging the pig skin. His 30 to 40 yards look good to me. I know he can't do it 15 times a game anymore, but he can still throw a few per game." Did you see the new video that surfaced, Drew Brees throwing the football? If you have seen it, what do you think about Drew Brees' arm strength in that video? And do you think he can replicate what we saw?
I mean, yeah, but they had one small thing that I didn't notice in the video. Nobody was rushing Drew Brees when he's throwing these passes. That's what worries me. I don't. We all know Drew Brees ain't about to throw no 50 or 60-yard pass to nobody. 30 or 40 yard, yeah, he could throw that. But my worry is when he has a blitz or pressure coming in his face, can he throw 30 or 40 yards then? That's the question that I have. I mean, Drew Brees, I'm going to say this. Drew Brees the most accurate quarterback in NFL history. I don't think nobody can dispute that. You can look at whatever stat you want. So, but my thing is when he get pressure and when he gets blitz and when people start coming in his face, his completion percentage goes down. So that's what worries me. I mean, a lot of people look good on video.
Right.
I mean, Ryan Leaf probably look good on. Don't think I'm trying to compare him to Ryan Leaf, but you know what I mean,
Yeah, I
Ryan Leaf, he looked good on videos or whatever, but when he got pressure in his face, I mean, you see what happened with him.
Right.
He's shooting all the other Saints quarterbacks, but Drew Brees, I mean, I know what Drew Brees can do. I'm really not impressed by him throwing the ball. I mean, it's a job.
Right.
I just want to see him handle pressure different.
Right.
I mean, I know he's over his 40s now, so I mean, throw the ball away. I like to see him throw it in the stands every now and then, somebody in his face.
Right.
So that'd be impressive to me. But him throwing the ball, I mean, yeah, it's nice and everything.
Right. Well,
I've seen that about 1,000 times.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it too. And on one thing, I get it. People are excited about it. People love to see Drew Brees throw the football. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. How accurate and how pristine and the precision that he has on his passes. That's great. But like you said, how can you do that in a game? You know what I'm saying? Are you going to be able to replicate that in a game that matters? The blueprint is out about Drew Brees. The fact that you feel that teams can feel that they can put their best pass rushers in the center and try to get pressure right up the nose in his face because he's height deficient. You know what I'm saying? So they feel like,
vertically challenged.
Exactly. So they feel like if they can get pressure right up the middle, he'll throw the ball away, or they'll end up getting the sack. So that's good and all, the fact that he's throwing the ball down the field. I mean, he got zip on it, but what's going to happen when that pressure comes into his face? Is he going to be able to do it then? If he can do it then I would be more impressed. But I mean, I'm not impressed about Drew Brees throwing a football because he's the best to ever do it. King Arthur, I just about to say that it did look pretty good. I believe he still have a little left in that arm of his. Man, look, let me say this. What's going on, Mike? First and foremost, let me start this one, E. You know, I think people are getting something misconstrued here. I think when people say like Drew Brees lacks arm strength, they make it seem as if Drew Brees can't throw the football anymore, period. I had a guy that was on Facebook, man, and shouts out to him. I can't remember his name, man. So, I mean, if you're watching, I'm pretty sure he's going to, know it's him. But he was saying, like, TJ, what were you saying about Drew Brees can't throw the football anymore? And I was like, I didn't say he couldn't throw the football. Wait a minute now. I said he didn't have the same arm strength. I didn't never say that Drew Brees can't throw the football. Drew Brees is still as accurate as he always been. He just doesn't have the arm strength that he once did in his prime or in his youth. So I just want to let that be known right now. So I think there's a difference, and I think people just need to understand that too. You know, it's not saying that when you say a person has diminished arm strength, don't mean that you can't throw the football anymore. So I want to make that perfectly clear. Michael Thomas at 5. Shame on the NFL. Michael Thomas landed in the top 5 among NFL players on the NFL Top 100. What do you think about Michael Thomas being in the top 5? Do you think that was the right spot for him at 5?
I mean, that's about right as far as Michael Thomas being in the top 5. He might be the highest ranked receiver that's probably ever been in the top 100. And I'd like to congratulate the Saints for having, I don't know how many people the Saints had in the top 100, but I would assume it's somewhere around 6 to 8. I don't know if it's more than that, but I'm sure it's plenty of them. If you got Traequine, Kamara, you got DeMario Davis, Cam Jordan, him, Drew Brees. Yeah. I'm sure I'm forgetting something. I'm forgetting somebody. But Lattimore, him is another one. Yeah. So that's probably like 7. Right. But, I mean, you look at the NFL a quarterback-driven league. So I don't think nobody was going to crack the top 3. So what Michael Thomas is now, the NFL offensive player of the year, that's about right for him. I don't see him being like 1 or 2. I mean, that'd be foolish to think that he'll be in the top 3. Right. Honestly, I mean, if you look at who's in front of him, most likely is Lamar Jackson, Mahomes, Wilson, and whoever else. Right. But it's hard to get in that top 5 or whatever. I think that he where he's supposed to be. I think, or where a lot of people think he should be.
Yeah, I agree with that. You know, I feel like number 5 was a good spot for him. All things considered, like you said, this is a quarterback-driven league. The fact that, the NFL and the media and the players are going to look at quarterbacks, and they should, man. You should look at quarterbacks a little bit higher than other positions, especially a position that is dependent on the success of the quarterback. So the fact that he landed in the top 5, that's nothing to sneeze at, and he has absolutely nothing to be ashamed of. And I think people in the Who Dat Nation, I think we ought to be excited and happy that Michael Thomas actually landed in this particular spot. I mean, you think about who followed him. At number 4, it was Patrick Mahomes. Number 3, Aaron Donald. Number 2, Russell Wilson. And number 1, Lamar Jackson. So, I mean, those guys are the creme de la creme. You know what I'm saying? So if you're mentioned in the top 5, that's nothing to be embarrassed about. Michael Thomas had an outstanding season. And, I think that he got the respect that he deserves. Every single year since Michael Thomas has come into the league, I mean, he has evolved and his number has increased. So I think he was, if I'm not mistaken, number 11 last season. So he was just right outside the top 10. The year before that, he was ranked like number 90 or 89 or something like that. So every single year, Michael Thomas has elevated his game. So I don't want to look at it, like me being a homer and stuff like that and saying, he should have been number 1. I think realistically, he wasn't going to be number 1. And I think number 5 was the best particular spot he can be in. I understand about Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he won a Super Bowl, for God's sakes. Aaron Donald, he's still the most dominating defensive player in the league. Then you got Russell Wilson, man. Come on now, man. Russell Wilson, in Russ, I trust. I tell everybody all the time, Russell Wilson is my favorite quarterback outside of Drew Brees in the NFL. I love Wilson. I would love to see Russell Wilson as a Saints quarterback.
Russell Wilson can take chicken salad or chicken and make chicken salad. You know the rest of that, what I'm saying. That's the only quarterback that's in the league right now, him, maybe Mahomes. Lamar Jackson, no year, right? But Russell Wilson take chicken and make chicken salad out of it,
bro,
and make a touchdown or whatever. Like Houdini.
Yep.
And if he was playing for the Saints, ball being Drew Brees retiring, boy, oh my goodness, if he played for the Saints, goodness.
Yeah, I think
with that offensive line that we have, oh my goodness.
If Russell Wilson would have been a quarterback for the New Orleans Saints over the last 3 seasons, I really believe we would have had at least one Super Bowl on the resume. So, man, I got a lot of respect for Russell Wilson. I love watching him play.
Hell, he's shorter than Drew Brees.
Yeah. Jared says the Jones brothers. Yeah, man, the Jones brothers are here, man. We here tonight, so thank y'all. We do appreciate that. We got Leola says who that? Latrell says who that nation? How y'all doing? What's going on, Latrell? And we got John DeShazer donating $2. Saying our interview is canceled, fool. Well, John, I mean, look, I would appreciate, you don't cancel our interview. I know a lot of people looking forward to hearing from you on Friday. So if you're not doing anything, once again, John DeShazer will be on the show this Friday. So y'all check him out. We got Jamarcus, man. Says who that? What's going on, Jamarcus, man? Shouts out to him, man. I was talking to Jamarcus earlier on Instagram, so appreciate you joining us, brother. Demetric says who that? We got Joe in the building. That boy Cam played through injuries a couple. Yeah, man. I mean, there's a lot that you can say about a guy that can play through injuries, man. I mean, especially some of the injuries that we had on the defensive line. You had Marcus Davenport, who's been injured over the past couple of years, and Sheldon Rankins has been injured over the past couple of years. 2 guys that are really that we're counting on for the success of the New Orleans Saints defensively, man. So the fact that Cam Jordan has been as durable as he's been over the years is a true testament, man, to how great he can be. And let me ask you this, man, like as of right now, if Cam Jordan was to retire, do you think that he would be a Hall of Famer?
I don't think so. No, I mean that's regrettably I say that. I don't think he will become. I don't think he will be a Hall of Fame. I don't think he is right now.
Wow.
I mean, looking at like different criteria and everything that they have for defensive ends, so you got to look at the defensive ends who are actually in the Hall of Fame. He'll probably be on the ballot, but it'll probably take some years probably for him to get in. You look at it, he's been in the league, 9 years? How many Pro Bowls he made? Maybe like 4, 5, something like. I don't think it's 6. Yeah, it's like 4th or 5th Pro Bowl or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was like 5.
So I think he's building his resume. I think what he's doing the next 3 to 5 years to really tell if he's going to the Hall of Fame. I think he's gonna wind up in the Hall of Fame if he keep up what he's doing.
Right. Well, I think if
but right now I don't think he is right now.
Yeah, I think if he gets 100 sacks, then I think you have yourself a conversation starter. But I really feel like if the New Orleans Saints can manage to win a Super Bowl with him, I think that will boost his resume, and people would actually, give him that would give him the legitimacy that he needs. Me personally, I was thinking about this when after we got off the phone when we was having this conversation. Cam Jordan is almost like a much better version of Dexter Manley. And you know who Dexter Manley is, right? Dexter Manley played for the Redskins. I mean, he reminds me a lot of Dexter Manley. Now, Dexter Manley was really known for, as a pass rusher. He wasn't really good when it comes to run stopping like Cam Jordan is. But he reminds me of Dexter Manley when it comes to like a guy that people are like, does he deserve to be in the Hall of Fame? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? And years have passed by before he actually got in. So he reminds me a lot of Dexter Manley, in that regard. So I feel like if he can get a Super Bowl and get into that 100 sack club, I think he'll probably end up being in a Hall of Fame. I think the Super Bowl will rush the process. The 100 sacks would actually let him wait, but eventually he'll land in there. So that's the way I look at it when it comes to.
And I think about it with Cam Jordan right now. You said 100 sacks. He's at 87 right now.
Yeah.
So he could break that record. He could do that this year with 13 sacks or something like that. Yep, and you're right. He kind of reminds me of Chris Doman. Remember that dude from the Vikings and the 49ers? That's kind of who he reminds me of. And I think he's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, good example, man. That was a good one right there too. Joe, what's going on, man? Appreciate you stopping by. And John, we really do appreciate it. Jamarcus says Cam Jordan definitely a top 20 player. Yeah, I would say a top 20 player. I feel like he's the best defensive end in football right now. He's the best defensive end nobody really talks about. Cam Jordan, thank you very much for the $2. Says, damn media trying to screw me. Yeah, I mean, look, man, I don't know what it is about Cam Jordan, but it just seems like nobody's really interested in what he's doing, which is amazing to me, like how this guy just continuously flies under the radar year after year, and nobody even really talks about him. And it really, honestly, there's no excuse for them not to talk about him. I mean, the Saints have been relevant for at least the last 3 seasons. You can say arguably they were the best team in football. And a lot of their games were publicized. They were rather on national television, a flex to the 3 o'clock spot. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I don't really understand why he doesn't get the attention that, that other pass rushers like Shaq Barrett and all, and Danielle Hunter and all those guys get. I just don't get
Chandler Jones and all of these people. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you could talk about market and all that. Say if Cam Jordan plays for the Rams in Los Angeles.
Right.
Are they talking about him more or are they talking about him less? I mean, Aaron Donald there like 20 sacks within the series.
Right.
But if Cam Jordan is playing in Los Angeles somewhere, are they talking about him more? And the Saints being on I mean, let's be honest, bro. The Saints must see TV. And I'm trying to be non-biased as I possibly can.
Right.
When you have the Saints playing somebody, you can get exciting football. They want probably the most exciting football inside of the Chiefs and the Ravens in the league or whatever.
Right.
So when you have them on your schedule, this upcoming season, if you have no preseason games, the Raiders opening their stadium and playing who? The Saints. Exactly. That game will be all over TV or whatever.
Right.
Not just because they open in the stadium. It's the Saints.
Good point.
I mean, the Saints, they popular pretty much. Yeah. And they always on TV. Yeah. Even though they're the biggest, smallest market football team in the league, I think.
Yeah.
You could say Green Bay. I don't know what other team other than Green Bay. I think we're the biggest, smallest market team in the NFL. I think so. That counts for something.
I mean, I don't look at Green Bay as a small market team, even though you can make an argument that they are. It's the historical aspect of the Green Bay Packers that's always going to put them and catapult them into the news cycle because we love nostalgia. You know what I'm saying? America loves nostalgia. You know what I'm saying? We love apple pie. You know what I'm saying? We about as nostalgic as apple pie sitting on a windowsill. So when you think about apple pie sitting on a windowsill, it don't get no better than the Green Bay Packers. So the New Orleans Saints, I think that you were absolutely right. I think they are the most popular small market team. And like you said, you knew that you're going to get an exciting game with the Saints. You know you got a team that's not going to get blown out. I can't remember the last time the Saints got blown out, for the exception of the Atlanta Falcon game. That's probably the last time I can remember the Saints losing by like double-digit points. It was a while since I seen something like that. So you know that they're always going to be in a game. You know that it's going to be a heart. You know what I'm saying? Heart pumping. You know what I'm saying? Blood pressure raising type games that they're going to be in. So Michael Thomas is one of the best wide receivers in the league, and Cam Jordan deserves more respect than that. But Mike Thomas has the best hands in the league. I think that's an argument. You know what I'm saying? That's a fair argument. I mean, when you catch over 80% of your passes, it's hard for a person to say that you don't have the best hands in the league. But I just think that Michael Thomas is a hard-working wide receiver. You know what I'm saying? He has a lunch pail mentality. He understands his shortcomings, and he tries to maximize the things that he do good. You know what I'm saying? Like Chris route running, good hands, good feet. You know what I'm saying? And good ball skills. So he's definitely one of the best in the league, man. He's not the fastest guy. Reminds me a lot of a much better version of Terrell Owens. You know what I'm saying? And has hands similar to Chris Carter. I think he has a Terrell Owens type body with Chris Carter type hands, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? That's the best way I can describe Michael Thomas, man. So yeah, he deserves everything that's coming to him right now because nobody works harder than him. who do you think will be our third best receiver? I'll let you tackle that one first. Who do you think is going to be the number 3 receiver for the Saints?
I'm gonna say this because the Saints got work to do.
Right.
You can say it'll be you can say that Traequan Smith. I mean, kick returner that we have, but they got work to do because with Michael Thomas being third on fifth on the NFL top 100, right. You already know what's going to happen next season. 150 catches, offensive player of the year. Right. People going to put their best cornerbacks on him. They're going to double team him a lot. They're going to look for him in double, when he's in the XYZ position, whatever, it don't matter. They're going to be double teaming him. Right. So I'm kind of happy that we have Emmanuel Sanders, but I want to say it's going to be Traequan Smith, but I think if he don't have a good year this year, if for some reason he's inconsistent, I think they might look elsewhere for him. He just might drop further down the depth chart or whatever. Right. Because it's time for him to step up. As far as the Saints, they need to step up. He like number one on my list. Right. You can put Davenport on that list too, but number one is him. Right. I think he's been there long enough. He learned from Michael Thomas long enough. It's time for him to put up or shut up. So my money is on him. So in this offense, even though the Saints need to throw less, I think he needs to at least get 40 or 50 catches to be a legit number 3 receiver on this team. Right.
Well, I do think that it's time for Traequan Smith to step it up. I think that it's time for him to really show what he has, man. I think that a lot of people have been waiting on him to actually turn a corner. I mean, we see some bright spots. We see some big plays every now and then. You'll see him catch a tough pass or something like that to show his toughness. But I think that Traequan Smith has been a huge disappointment in the Saints uniform. I think the New Orleans Saints expected a lot more out of him, and he hasn't delivered. I think they wanted him to be the number 2 receiver, but it just never panned out. If he would have stepped up and made more plays, then the Saints wouldn't have to go out here and get Emmanuel Sanders to serve as that number 2 receiver. So me personally, I think that his time is up. I think that other players are going to be coming in. A lot of the coaches and stuff like that, they're probably looking elsewhere because they feel like they didn't get what they thought they were going to get out of him. So if he comes in and he plays much better in training camp, it would probably be really shocking to some of the coaches. I think the other coaches are looking for some of these younger players to actually step up. The ones that were rookies last year that are probably going to make a huge leap. Like you mentioned, Deontay Harris, as a punt returner. I mean, he's one of the best in the league. First team All-Pro on special teams. And if you notice, the Saints actually were using him towards the latter parts of the season. Seen him running wide receiver screens. He caught that big pass against the Minnesota Vikings in the playoffs. So they were grooming him to almost be that next Ted Ginn Jr., because I don't know if they thought Ted Ginn Jr. wasn't going to be there or he might retire. So Deontay Harris looked like he's going to be in that role. Now, you can make an argument and say, okay, well, that's a downfield threat, but what can he do inside of the numbers? But if Harris comes out there and he's running good routes in the slot and he's out there really improving from year 1 to year 2, I think Traequan Smith going to be on the outside looking in. And not to mention Emmanuel, who almost had similar to a red shirt year. He didn't play any at all. The Saints kind of just put him on the practice squad and hit him on the team throughout the season. And he's working out, and it seems like he's getting more physical and bigger and stronger in the offseason. So Traequan Smith is down.
It's time. Yeah, it's time for him to show up too. I mean, it's time to. He been looking nice in training camp. I went to training camp last year. Seen that boy play. It's time for him to come out too and take that plastic off that boy. See what he can do. Kick them tires.
Right. I agree. TJ and E, I need both of you guys' opinion on this. What is something that we can do as a team to pump fear in other teams on the field in terms of our play? E, what do you think about this, man? What do you think the Saints can do in order for them to to strike fear into the hearts of their opponents?
I don't know, because it's not really college. When at LSU they have the Tiger on the field, where the opposing team run past the Tiger and intimidate them. So, I mean, it's the NFL. Everybody tends to do this, like the same thing. But you have your light shows at the beginning of the game.
Right.
And the lights go off. They do introduction. I don't really know what we can do to, like, sprite field and then scoring touchdowns. I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of stumped on, like, what we can do.
Right.
Like, strike fear people with them.
Yeah.
I'll leave that to you. I don't really have nothing on that stuff.
Well, you know, I feel like this, you know, when you think about teams striking fear into their opponent, you think about teams having an elite lights out defense. You think about the 85 Bears, who for some apparent reason have been making their way on the State of Saints podcast as examples for at least about 3 episodes I've done. But I mean, I think they are a prime example of a team that a lot of people fear, you know, but they were feared because, you know, they were shutting teams out. I think they won like 4 games in a row and the team didn't score on them. You think about the 2000 Ravens, you know, where they were one of the toughest defenses. You think about the Legion of Boom with the Seattle Seahawks having that elite secondary. So I think it all starts like with a fierce defense. I don't think offenses really scare people as much as the defense does. I think we all can make an argument. Well, it's no argument in my opinion. I think that the Saints can play better defensively. And I really feel like if the Saints are going to get where they need to be, I mentioned this on several occasions, they're going to have to replicate what the Denver Broncos did with Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning, like towards the end of his career, he wasn't the same quarterback, didn't have the arm strength. You know, we know that he had that devastating neck injury that messed with his throwing motion. What they did, they made a team around him that didn't have to be dependent on him to be the guy that delivered them out of all type of situations. I feel like it's time for the Saints defense to evolve to be that lights out defense, for them to work together as a cohesive unit in order for them to, you know, generate shutouts, teams to, you know, not get more than 10 points. I feel like that will strike fear into the hearts of their opponents. You know, if they go out there and they play lights out defense and they're out there hard hitting, you know, so I feel like if they got to up the intensity, you know, if you're going to scare anybody. I mean, if you're out there being a finesse team and you got secondary players that's afraid to hit wide receivers and stuff like that, you know, I think that you're never going to strike fear into anybody. You know, nobody is going to be intimidated by you. So it all starts with you being, intense and making sure that your opponent understands that you about to give it to them all 60 minutes. You can't replace Kamara's production. He is a true jack of all trades. Tyrell, I agree with that. You know, I mentioned this before. I said that a lot of people take Alvin Kamara for granted. And I think it has a lot to do with the fact that the offense of the New Orleans Saints have been potent over the last 15 years. And a lot of people just feel like anybody can be in that spot. But I think there's a difference. You know, every person that you see, rather it be from Reggie Bush, or you see Pierre Thomas, or you see Darren Sproles, or you see Tavares Cadet, I think that Alvin Kamara stands out among all those guys. And I'm not even just talking about his personality as far as how approachable he is outside of the Superdome, but it's just the fact that how he plays the game, how he sees things, and how he just manages to get open on several occasions. You know, I think that he has a great skill set, something we haven't seen in a very long time. I do see a lot of Marshall Faulk inside of Alvin Kamara. Yeah. And I think that a lot of people in the Who Dat Nation, we just seem to take players for granted because we see them play and they make things look so easy, and we just automatically chunk that up to the Saints offense, but not look at the player themselves. So I think that Alvin Kamara deserves way more credit than people give him credit for. And I think anybody that's talking about possibly trading him or getting rid of him or somebody can replace him, I think that's a ridiculous statement. What do you think about Alvin Kamara?
Well, I think first of all, he's next in line to get some bread. I know that much. I think he'll want to see he's going into his fifth season, right? Fifth or fourth. Yeah. So he's next. He's the Saint next in line to get some bread. Right. So he's due a contract. If you look at what Christian McCaffrey is, and you look at what Derrick Henry is, where does Alvin Kamara fall as far as like money between Christian McCaffrey, who's making like $100 million, Derrick Henry, who's making almost $40 million? Right. So I imagine he's somewhere in the middle.
Right.
But as far as like Kamara, I mean, we seen video footage of him look like he gained maybe like 10 or 15 pounds. So I'm assuming he's like around 210, 215. I don't usually say this about running backs, but Alvin Kamara, when he runs, it's beautiful.
Right.
You don't see somebody run. When you watch those nature films where you see the antelope or the deer just gratefully like running like they floating on air.
Right.
That's kind of how I look when he running the ball. When it was like he gliding, don't like he's running too fast.
That's
but
true.
Nobody can get close to him. I call him Mr. Slippery. That's what I call him.
Yeah.
But it seems like when they try to attack him, look like he got Crisco on his legs or something like that. It just rolling off.
Right.
So I think there's really nobody you could compare him to now. As far as like if he has Marshall Faulk, I think he is kind of like a Marshall Faulk type person. He even got some Eric Dickerson in him, but the way he run, that's the only person I've seen like run beautiful like him.
Right.
But Saints, they got something nice in there with Kamara, and I just hope they use him like he's equipped to be used, not just throwing him the ball out the backfield. Run the ball with him. I think he needs to touch the ball 20 to 25 times a game for the Saints to be what they want to be at the end of the year. That's what I think. If you don't get those 25 touches, I don't think the Saints going. I don't think they're gonna be where they want to be.
Yeah. I think that they definitely got to up the ante on the running game. I definitely believe that, no doubt about that. And I think that Alvin Kamara is a really good runner. I wouldn't say too much about Eric Dickerson. I think Eric Dickerson ran a little bit more taller than Alvin Kamara did. He was. I think I want to say somebody like Saquon Barkley, his running style reminds me a little bit of Eric Dickerson as far as like how high he runs. I think that Alvin Kamara is just a little bit more smooth. He's like one of those guys that be running fast but don't look like he be running fast.
He run fast, like the coach is telling him, run fast.
Exactly.
And he running fast. He can't run
fast. Yeah, we got Sergeant AR-10 up here. He says, of course, I'm a Pooh hater. He said it's called a rivalry. He's a Falcon fan, man. But look, I ain't got
We'll forgive him for that, man. We'll forgive him for that.
Look, I don't mind Falcon fans coming in here, man. I really don't, man. Look, I watch other teams' podcasts and stuff like that. I gotta support my guy Mike Ricks, man. He a Carolina Panthers fan, so I'm definitely gonna support that. And I ain't got no problem with that. It's just a rivalry at the end of the day. So, of course, he's going to support his team. I'm looking at some of his comments. He's talking about the Falcons are lit and stuff like that. Look, man, I do think that the Falcons got a lot of work to do this season. I feel like I will say this. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I feel like Matt Ryan was snubbed of the NFL top 100. He didn't even make it. But they got a lot of work. They got a lot of work to do, man. As far as like being consistent for a while until they went on that stretch towards the end of the season. A lot of people thought that Dan Quinn was going to get fired. So I think that the Atlanta Falcons going to have to step their game up. I think that they're going to have to really play better defensively and offensively. They got to put it together. They got way too much talent offensively for them not to be winning football games. It's hard to like really point to what's wrong with the Falcons. On paper they look like they should be winning at least double-digit games, but when they get on the field, man, they end up getting blown out. And I feel like when you're doing things like that, it's more of an organizational issue more than a team issue. Let's see.
The Falcons haven't been the same. They haven't been the same since that Super Bowl. To be perfectly honest with you. They haven't been the same. Like they've been snake bitten or something.
Right. Well, I feel like they, when Kyle Shanahan went to the 49ers, that was a huge drop off. Kyle Shanahan, say what you want about him. You can call him a choke artist. You can say that, he was responsible for that offensive team that gave up, when they lost the Super Bowl, when they was up 28-3, and then in the Super Bowl they were up by 10 in the fourth quarter late. Say what you want to say about Kyle Shanahan, but that guy can coach the hell out of some offense, and he's a great offensive-minded coach. Jared Poor says, "Thank God I'm a Saints fan, because if I was a Falcon fan, it wouldn't look good on me at all." Oh man, look, the Falcons really do have to do some winning, man, for real. Like I feel like I feel like the Falcon fans out there, I'm pretty sure they're a proud fan base. You know, they're kind of hard to find. I'm not gonna lie about that. You know, I feel like they need more fans because I really don't see that many of them. And but I mean, they really got to step it up, man. I mean, if I was a Falcon fan, I'd be very disappointed at the organization because they got way too much talent for them not to be in the playoffs over the last couple of years. Jerry, the Falcon fans don't have a podcast. That's why they undercover on here. They really fans. I don't have no podcast. I've seen a few, man. You know, I've seen a few podcasts from the Atlanta Falcon fans out there. You know, I think this guy shouts out to Julio. Julio has a podcast on the Falcons. I follow him on Twitter. I was supposed to be on the show with him. I think a couple weeks ago, man. It was a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan that reached out to me that had a podcast, and he wanted me to represent the Saints on that. And he had Julio, who was a Falcon fan. So I mean, they got some people out there that are Falcon fans, man. They just kind of few and far between. And I feel like they're a little bit of grandstanders. I'm not gonna lie about that. I don't feel like they have that same energy when the Falcons be losing. But when they winning, you know what I'm saying? All of a sudden, like they coming up out the trees. Like rep your team, even in the midst
of
that.
When they lose and when they win.
For real, that's my only problem.
And us being Saints fans. Go ahead.
Go ahead. You said Saints fans what?
I said, hell, us being Saints fans, we could write a book on cheering for a loser.
Man, what?
Me and you, I mean, we sit next to each other winning these brown people bags while listening to the games on the radio.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I don't miss those days at all.
Not at all, man. Hey, I tell people all the time, I said, man, listening to the Saints on the radio, the reason I got into broadcast. Sure, that's the reason why. I mean, they played a huge influence in my life. I don't think I would have been a broadcaster if it weren't for Jim Henderson and Buddy D them back in the day. Let's see. You run the ball on people to pump fear. Inevitable. That's a good point. I don't mind that take. You know, I think they run the football. A good offensive line. You know what I'm saying? Like knocking defensive ends and defensive tackles backwards. You know, I think that's a good look too. Yeah, I mean, because, I mean, you look at the NFC Championship game where the 49ers played the Packers and they took their manhood on that field. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo only threw the ball 10 times in that game. Like that man went back to Johnny Unitas and Bart Starr days right there. He even throw the football that way.
That's the thing about it, though, man. When you run the ball, that's beautiful, too. When you running the ball as a team and you pushing the defensive line backwards, and in the first quarter, even when the first quarter, when you get 2-3 yards, 1 yard, then second quarter, third, fourth quarter, you start getting 5, 10, 30, 50. I mean, that's beautiful. I mean, nothing the team can do about that or whatever. Only thing they can do is deal with it.
Yeah.
If they can't stop it, they're gonna be taking it all evening or whatever. Which is that's a position I think the Saints could get to. Yeah. Especially with this offensive line that they have. I mean, you got 3 Pro Bowls on the line or whatever. Right. I mean, you should be able to do stuff like that.
Yep. And then you got 2 young guys on the team that have all the potential in the world.
Yep.
It just says, Joe Dirty Birds everywhere, no escaping us. I don't know about all that, man. You know, I don't want to say y'all everywhere. I mean, y'all might pop up every now and then, you know, like see y'all, you know. Inevitable says Barry. I'm not sure what he means by Barry. Just elaborate a little bit more. I don't know if that was a comment that you made for somebody else or what. No need to erase. Y'all do it yourself. Yeah, I mean that's true. You know, I mean the Falcons. I mean they make it almost like a science. You know what I'm saying? The way that they screw up and don't live up to expectations. TJ, what was the main thing that led to the 72 Dolphins winning the chip? Man, running the football.
Defense. Yeah, Larry Zonka. I mean, you had that no-name defense that they had. I mean, shoot, take your pick.
I mean, you had Larry Zonka, Mercury Morris, and you had another running back who I can't think of, but they had a 3 running back set. And you know the crazy thing about it, we got the 49ers to the Super Bowl this past season. They had a 3 running back set. I mean, you had Raheem Mostert, you had Tevin Coleman, And then you had like Debo Samuels and stuff like that running up out of the backfield. They had a 1-2-3 punch. So they kind of were a throwback team in that regard, running the football and playing good defense. So I think that was the recipe for their success. I mean, this was during the time before Dan Marino actually got there. You know what I'm saying? Dan Marino wasn't the quarterback at the time. So who was the quarterback? Bob Greasy, if I'm not mistaken. Bob Greasy was the quarterback. So, that was the recipe for their success. And not to mention, Bob Greasy was injured for the majority of that season, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was hurt. So they really relied on the running backs to actually, catapult them to the forefront. And they still got that same record, the undefeated record that still stands today, And rest in peace to dude who passed away earlier this year. So, I mean, no more sipping of the champagne anymore. Once a team or all the NFL teams lose, where they can celebrate. So, I'm glad, in a way, I'm glad that he was able to live throughout his lifetime, without seeing that record fall. And we might not ever see it fall, man, because it's hard for a team.
I don't think so. I don't think so. For one, they have more games now, and for two, it's just as physical as it was. The guys then got stronger. I mean, we start taking breaks at the end of the year when our team's good, or say if you're 13-0, all your starters ain't gonna play no more. So the chances of you finish that season undefeated, I don't think that's gonna happen no
more. Yeah, that's true. That's the point. I mentioned Barry because Arthur asked who had the best moves in NFL history. Yeah, Barry Sanders was incredible. I mean, he definitely had a lot of juke moves. Very exciting to watch. I mean, one of the most elusive players. To me, one of the people that was just more fun to watch. But I mean, it wasn't on the NFL level. It was Reggie Bush in college. Reggie Bush was like fun to watch. In college, when he played at USC. AE, what play? This for you. He says, what play in Saints history made your jaw drop when you seen it? Good or bad? Same question to you, TJ. What's one of those plays that stood out to you, E, that you was like, man, I can't believe this happened?
This Saints history. So you gotta go through a whole library full of those kind of plays. But the one that come up to my mind is you remember that season where the Cleveland Browns came back on Halloween on Sunday?
Man. Oh man!
And they threw that damn Hail Mary. And Kevin Johnson from the Browns caught the ball from Tim Couch.
Man. I mean,
they had like 5 or 6 Saints players over there. The dude caught that ball for Tip. The Browns they won the game. Oh my goodness. That's probably like one of the worst. That's probably one of the worst plays probably I was seeing in Saints history or whatever, I think. Even though I think we sucked that year anyway. I think that's probably one. I think that's one of the worst plays in Saints history or whatever.
That's horrible. You want to know the craziest thing about it? And I was talking about this last night, and I feel like this kind of coincides with the worst quarterbacks in Saints history video I put out on last night. I was talking about Mike Dicker. Now, Mike Dicker traded away all of our draft picks for that particular year in order for us to get Ricky Williams. The Saints were horrible for at least about 2 or 3, 4 years. So imagine the draft position that the Redskins got because the New Orleans Saints gave them all of those draft picks. So because the Saints were sorry, they still picked in the top 10. You know what I'm saying? So they got the Saints top 10 pick. So imagine if the Saints would have gotten the opportunity to suck and still be able to get somebody, get a couple more players that was in the top 10. You might be able to maybe make the playoffs or something like that. But for me, I feel like one of the worst plays or one of the most jaw-dropping plays, in my opinion, in Saints history. I mean, you just got to go back to that game against the Jacksonville Jaguars, all those laterals and stuff like that. Jerome Bates throwing in the end zone. Only for John Jordan to miss the extra point. I think that pretty much summed up the Saints in a nutshell during that time, man. I mean, it was just you weren't even really surprised though. You were so disappointed in the team to a point where you was like, man, I mean, come on, man. Like you was expecting something bad to happen during that time.
That's like finding $1 million on your debit card on Tuesday, but losing it on Wednesday night. That's what that's like. Not being able to spend none of the money. That's what it's like. Heartbreaking.
Inevitable says his brother used to make him chase their dog. That's how he got his speed and moves. My Barry Sanders. And if that's the case, then his brother, he needs to be a running back coach.
And what kind of dog was that too? I need one of them dogs.
Right. And,
my son to chase.
TJ, is there any position on our team that concerns you, even if we're 100% healthy all season? To be honest with you, I think the Saints pretty stacked at all positions. No position scares me at all. I think that the Saints are stacked at every position. I think you can say because you haven't seen them collectively play and have a complete body of work, I think you can say the linebackers, but I'm still not concerned about them because I feel like the Saints linebackers are really good. So there's not a position that concerns me. I feel like they need a little bit more depth at the secondary, but I think that the Saints are one of the most complete teams in the league. So that's why we as fans, we have high expectations and we should expect nothing but the best for this team, and anything else, in the words of Charles Barkley, would be uncivilized.
Uncivilized. I believe it.
Exactly. Keen Arthur also says one play that sticks in my mind is the missed extra point when we did. Yeah, we just mentioned that. Yeah, that's gonna always stand in my mind.
Let me go get my charge real quick.
Yeah, no problem, man. Yeah, that's always gonna stand in my mind. That's one of the worst plays I've seen. I just think about all that hard work and all that stuff, that time that they put in. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, come on, man. Like y'all can't. I mean, come on. Like y'all can't kick the extra point. And this was during the time, before they moved the extra point back, when there was a strong possibility that somebody could miss. So, yeah, that's gonna always stand in my mind. TJ almost died when it happened. Man, I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. Like, I remember, like, I was so happy that the play itself, like, happened, you know what I'm saying, that they were successful. Like, they were laterally it, and I'm like, okay. And then they get to the end zone. I remember, like, jumping up in the air, cheering. I'm happy. And all of a sudden, like, John Carter just missed the extra point. And I'm like, at this particular point, as a Saints fan, I mean, anything that could go wrong went wrong. So I can't say that I was too surprised, man. The only thing that you can do is just look up at the sky and say, man, that's the Saints, Tim, thank you very much for the $5. Tim says, being a Saints fan, it's like playing Russian roulette with 5 of the 6 chambers filled with bullets. That mixed field goal was painful. I agree with that, man. Thank you very much for the $5, Tim. And baby, thank you very much for my water right here. I appreciate that. I love you. Shouts out to my girl, man, coming to the clutch with the water. But yeah, man, I mean, that's true, Tim. That was like one of those painful things right there, like that. I mean, and I was saying this was during the time before, they moved the extra point back. I mean, so the extra point was pretty much automatic at this time.
Wow.
I mean, unbelievable. Sergeant AR-10 said, Ramsey, when we win the division, y'all be hiding somewhere. I don't think Saints fans really hide. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not a part of our DNA. We don't hide. Like, we still gonna be talking trash if we lose by 20 points. Saints fans will still be like, I still say who that. Falcon fans, when they lose, man, they be nowhere to be found. I'm just saying. I don't know, man. Y'all need to keep that same energy. That's all I'm saying.
You know what I noticed when other teams come here nowadays, the last 2 or 3 years?
Mm-hmm.
Teams, they come here lock, stock, and barrel with a bunch of their fans, and they take over Bourbon Street. Usually that's they do. Like the 49ers fans, like when they came down here, man, they was talking some major league crap.
Right.
And the Falcons, they never did that. They do it with LSU too. I mean, when Georgia came down, they took down Bourbon. They actually had a parade on Bourbon Street, bro.
Right.
Like a parade of people. All you seen was red. Man, when they get on the field, boy, beat the crap out of them. But as far as the Saints, they do that with the Saints too. I mean, they get their fans coming out here. You know, we have a good time. I mean, and make sure you tip the waitresses and all this, and spend your money. So you can kick your behind on the field or whatever, especially Falcon fans, Tampa Bay fans. The first game of the year. Enjoy the restaurants.
Man, I mean, the Dallas Cowboys did the same thing. I think they kind of started there. Yeah. You know, they had that parade down Burger Street talking about we taking over. And they got their ass whooped on Sunday Night Football. So, I mean, cheer all you want to, man. Dance all you want to. But, you know, don't take this ass whooping personally.
Come here and be a tourist. You know, eat and drink like everybody. I'm going to try to take over our main street.
All right.
Going back to Dallas somewhere with that.
Exactly, man, and also, man, them lifelong New Orleanian fans that are Dallas Cowboy fans, y'all ought to be ashamed of yourselves. Like y'all, some of the most pathetic individuals on the planet, in my opinion. How you live, born and raised in New Orleans, and not be a Saints fan, and I don't know. That's another story for another.
That's Northern Louisiana right there, bro. All Northern Louisiana. You go around Tallulah and Monroe and that area, Shreveport. They Cowboy fans up there.
But I kind of understand that because, I mean, you're actually, believe it or not, you're actually more closer to Dallas than you are to New Orleans. So, I mean, I can kind of understand that. I'm talking about people that live in New Orleans, called the RTA, who got bus tickets. You know what I'm saying? and you are
bus tickets.
Yeah, you know, so I mean, come on, man.
Like, got free lunch.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? If you put a bus ticket in the RTA, man, you don't need to be no Dallas Cowboy fan. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's true. I agree.
Hey, TJ, that playoff game with Vernon Davis scored. Oh man.
I forgot all about that. I know I ain't getting no sleep tonight.
Yeah, that was
thinking about that one.
Yeah, that game hurt right there. Man, the Saints have really broken our hearts in the playoffs, I must say. I mean, there's been like so many times where I just cut the TV out, man, turn off the light, go to sleep on some of the Saints games, man. I mean, ATJ and E, what undrafted free agent do y'all think will make the team? I'm watching this kid Callaway. He's talking about Marquise Callaway out of Tennessee. Who's the person that's unrestricted free agent, unrestricted rookie free agent? Who you think is going to making a team?
I haven't looked at the list in a while, but that Callaway dude, I mean, he does have some talent.
Right.
And we always looking for a receiver. I don't care what Sean Payton say.
Right.
Saints all seem like they're always looking for a receiver. So, but the thing about it that these undrafted free agents they don't have the luxury. We have no preseason though. Right. So how they gonna prove themselves? We going right into the regular season. So, I mean, I don't know if they're gonna have a bunch of scrimmages against our defense with the offense or whatever.
Right.
How these people gonna make the team? What the practice squad is gonna look like? So. It's going to be tough for them. It's going to be the toughest year for sports in all sports, I think. Right. Especially if you're starting to play in the fall. Mm-hmm. I don't know exactly how any of these undrafted guys can make the team this year, to be honest.
Right. Well, I'm looking at this list right now while you were talking, E. I pulled it up. I'm just going to read off a couple of these names, and I'm pretty sure I know you probably knew all these guys because you're pretty much like an encyclopedia when it comes to college football. But Joe Bacci, the linebacker out of Michigan State, a 4-year starter. He was the leader of the Michigan State defense. He's a guy that is a really good guy and player, and a lot of people feel like he's going to end up making a team. Marquise Callaway, who Dean Arthur just mentioned, he's another guy. You got Gus Cumberlander out of Oregon. You got Tino Ellis, the cornerback out of Maryland. You got Jawan Johnson. You got Adrian McGee out of LSU, and you got Tony Jones Jr., who probably is a long shot at running back out of Notre Dame. So, I mean, just looking at this list, you're probably going to look at somebody like Marquise Callaway because he has speed and good hands. And probably like somebody like Joe Bacci, you know what I'm saying? That's another guy that kind of stands out. And the linebacker out of Texas, Roach, he's another guy that has a opportunity to make the team as well. But I do agree with you, E. I feel like there's going to be like some issues when it comes to actually evaluating talent because you don't have the preseason to actually evaluate these guys. But I think I got a solution to this problem, E. I feel like with scrimmage games, I feel like they should allow teams because there's no preseason. They should allow these teams to actually have like physical scrimmages. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to worry about anybody like your starters end up getting hurt because most likely they're not going to play. I mean, come on, man. What more do you need to see out of Alvin Kamara or Michael Thomas or Drew Brees? You know these are going to be your core guys. And I'm talking about those guys that are trying to make the team, the guys that are trying to transition from year one to year two. Allow them to get the majority of the snaps along with some of these other young players. Allow them to play 60 minutes like a real true game and may the best person win. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the only way you're going to be able to evaluate the talent on your team if you have like simulations of games. So hopefully they'll kind of do something like that. I wish the NFL would agree to those type of terms. University of Georgia, Atlanta will win anything. I don't know if the University of Georgia will ever win a championship or anything like that, in my honest opinion. So I don't know. I don't know what this means. I guess they're a Cowboy fan, but I mean, I guess I don't know if it means 5 Super Bowls. I mean, those Super Bowl rings kind of.
I think that's the amount of times they choked in the last few years. 5 years in a row, something like that.
Yeah, some of that regards. I mean, you gotta throw a 25 up in there. You know what I'm saying? 25 years of choking. You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on.
You said last question?
No. What was
it? The last the last Dallas championship was on VHS.
I heard it. I already was best in there, man. Shout out there.
You gotta track that VCR,
right? Had to put the time on. Inevitable says TJ, I live in Massachusetts and I've been a Saints fan since 1991, man. Shouts out to Inevitable. You know, that's a testament right there, especially living in Massachusetts with all the winning the New England Patriots been doing over the last 19 years. So I mean, that's a true Who Dat fan right there. Keen Arthur says, I can't let y'all forget, man. I've had several heart attacks watching the Saints, but I bleed black and gold. I mean, look, you ain't about to make me forget Keen Arthur. You know what I'm saying? Like, in order for you to know where you're going, you got to remember where you've been. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I mean, I know about it. And, you know, I think that my brother, you know, it's only suffice that he be on the show to be able to testify to this. I mean, it's been some dark days in the Jones household watching Saints games, you know. I mean, I think people, you know, already know about the story of how I became a Saints fan from, you know, our grandmother, you know, being a lifelong Saints fan, being a fan since their expansion of our uncles and stuff like that. I mean, there's been some disappointed times in the Saints household, and you know, we always found like real creative ways to rep the team. You know what I'm saying? Rather it be a bag on our head. You're an artist, so you always had the best bags. You know what I'm saying? You drawing on a swagman bags. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, we definitely know about those hard times in the Jones household. You know, no doubt about that, man. Jerry said, like I said, January has always been the Saints kryptonite. Yeah, man. They're definitely not Mr. January. They definitely not Mr. January or February in the Saints organization as of late. That game where Vernon Davis caught that touchdown really brought me to tears. And I don't think you had more tears in your eyes than Vernon Davis had after he caught that bag. TJ, are there any promising linebackers on that list? Yeah, Joe Bacci is a promising linebacker. Yeah, he's a real promising linebacker. He's a smart guy, you know, that has good instincts. Not the fastest linebacker in the world. You know, not gonna keep you up at night with his speed or his tackling ability, but he probably can be a good contributor on special teams. Tim, says, I became a Saints fan shortly after Katrina when I started watching football. Then I did my research learning about the Dome Patrol and the Aints. TJ, how did Katrina affect you, if you don't mind? Oh, man. Well, I will say this, it was very life-changing for us, the fact that we both were born and raised in New Orleans. I was going to Philly at the time, and so were you. I'll let you tell your side. But it was just the fact that we moved to Mississippi, man, right after Hurricane Katrina. I ended up going to Dillon University. I ended up transferring to Jackson State. And, it kind of just changed my life in that regard. New Orleans is always going to be my home. I'm about as New Orleans as a high size French dress. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think that this is ever going to lead me. I haven't lived in New Orleans in a very long time. I stay in South Carolina, but I'm still New Orleans through and through. And it did affect my life, but I can say in some positive ways as well. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have went to Jackson State. I wouldn't have had an opportunity to see the world because of the college that I went to and opportunities that I got. So it's a blessing in disguise in a way. But I did lose some friends in the process who ended up dying. In Hurricane Katrina. You know what I'm saying? And I think back on those individuals, but nevertheless, I think it was a very humbling time for a lot of people to be able to pick things up. But I'll go ahead and ask you the same question, man. How did it change?
It was humbling. That's a good word to use to describe it. You had people that passed, people that you knew. As far as the worldly possessions, we lost everything. Right. We left with with the shirts and everything on our backs.
Right.
As far as worldly possessions that we had at home, we lost all of that. But
right.
We lose ourselves, whatever.
Yeah.
But we lose people, in the process and everything.
Right.
But the funny thing about people from New Orleans, no matter whether they stand in New Orleans or not, they're still from New Orleans. I don't care. Right. How many years it's been. It could be like 30, 40 years. I'm from New Orleans. It's like 30, 40 years ago. No, I'm still from New Orleans. They're still where this is.
Right.
So, whenever that we come down here, we know our place that we need to go to get this and that,
right.
Whole day out of it or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, the trainer kind of changed a lot for me. I did go to school down here.
Right.
When I came back, when I left, I went to school in Tennessee. Then I came back down here. Right. It was so bad down here that we had school in a hotel when I came down for my senior year.
Yeah,
so we was at the Hilton. So yeah, we was staying in the Hilton. You can imagine a bunch of college students staying in an upscale hotel.
Right.
I ain't even gonna finish that. You can use your imagination. But it was quite an experience though.
Right.
I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy though.
Yeah.
All the devastation and everything that you've seen. Right. Some people came down and manipulate the situation to get paid, awards and stuff like that.
Yep.
To use other people to,
Yeah, you end up, you end up going to college in Tennessee, and I ended up going to Jackson State. But New Orleans will always be in my heart, no matter if I haven't stayed there since I was 19. E, I'm getting a little bit of feedback from your end, man. I'm getting a little bit of feedback from your end. I don't know if anybody else can hear that. Let me see. King Arthur says, my dad is from New Orleans like us, all but hate the Saints organization because they passed over Warren Moon in favor of Bobby Ager. That's shame on them, you know what I'm saying? Shame on them the fact that actually happened, you know what I'm saying? But let's not be surprised. The New Orleans Saints organization was hot garbage. They had one of the worst front offices in football. And, it's not no surprise that happened. You know what I'm saying? How many guys end up being all world that the Saints could have possibly got because they out here trying to get Danny Wolf of the world. So, that's no surprise. Inevitable said Warren Moon was great. I mentioned Warren Moon last night on the last podcast. I said that Warren Moon was the greatest African-American quarterback of all time. But I don't even want to minimize on that. You know what I feel like he was one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. You know what I'm saying? I think that he put a real good number. It was unfortunate that people had that negative mind frame when it came to African American quarterbacks at the time. He had to go up to Canada in order for him to actually come back to the National Football League. I wish people were more open-minded during that time, but you know, I mean, it was unfortunate, but still, Warren Moon had a very good career, and he ended up making the Hall of Fame. So, I mean, it was a win-win. I am enjoying you and your brother. Thanks for keeping it real. Man, Ramsey, thank you very much for checking us out, man. We really do appreciate that, man. It's always fun when I have my big brother here, man, because I always tell him, you know, on here, E, you know, you're the main reason why I'm into sports the way that I am. Because, you know, we used to talk about sports so much, man. Like, I just remember, like, there was times, like, during the summer, you know, Mom was a teacher. And, you know, it used to be like me and you. You know, we used to like be going to the store and stuff like that. I remember like us going to like Winn-Dixie and you purchasing college football magazines and stuff, and you know you were reading and yeah, man, bouncing ideas off the wall, talking about players and stuff like that, and you know, so I mean, in the process, you know, the love of sports and the love of football, you know, came to fruition. So you know, I owe a lot to you on that. King Arthur says, I'm in Atlanta now and was at the Super Bowl party where the Falcons went, and y'all wouldn't believe the level of cocky I dealt with in the second half of the game. Suck the air out of the I could imagine, man. I must say this, man. If I can take a few minutes to really just think about the fact that the Atlanta Falcon fans, like, imagine like how on high you must have been in the first half. Like, you couldn't tell me nothing if I was a fan. You know what I'm saying? But in the second half, just to get your heart literally ripped out of your chest, watching the New England Patriots come all the way back from a 25 point deficit. You know what I'm saying? Like, and win in overtime. My goodness. I feel like it's something. Honestly, man, that was the worst collapse in NFL history. I'm sorry. Like, the magnitude of the game. The magnitude
bigger than Buffalo and the Orbis. Bigger than that playoff game in 1993. Yeah, it is. I mean, they have nobody to blame for that but themselves, though. I mean, I don't know what it is about people and running the ball. When you run the ball, good things happen. But that whole second half, they start running the ball.
Right.
They running back Freeman. Devontae Freeman still had 100 yards at halftime. Why you start running the ball? Why? I think he got like 3 carries the rest of the game. It's crazy.
Yeah. What are your guys' thoughts on Ricky Williams as a player? I'll let you start that. What you thought about Ricky Williams?
I thought he was a real good player. Not for the Saints, but I thought it was a real. I think with the Saints, because of that contract and how much they gave him, they thought he was like another savior. I think he might have went to some kind of depression when he was down here. Honestly, when he was down here, he wasn't working out like talking about it. Ricky Williams was like 250 something pounds when he was down. He was out of shape, and because he was out of shape, he was getting hurt and everything. I watched the Saints game when they played the Dallas Cowboys on YouTube back in '99. It was like around Christmas. It was Jake DeLong's first start. I was watching that game. I think Ricky Williams ran that ball like 30 times or something like that. So I think he turned into being a great person once he left the Saints. I think the Saints had their expectations was like too high. They were like LeBron James or something. Like, who gives away 2-3 years of draft people for one player? Like, who do that kind of stuff? You ain't got Master P doing your contract. This dude had all kinds. This dude was like a walk-in reality show when he was with the Saints. So I mean, he couldn't be successful here. It was like stacked against him or whatever. And the Saints couldn't win here just with Ricky Williams. Hey, Ricky Williams and who else? Andre Hastings. You can't win just with him.
Right.
You need much more than Ricky Williams for a football team.
Yeah.
I think he was a good player. He was. I do think he was.
Yeah, I agree, man. You know, I feel like the expectation was too high. And, you know, I'm a realist, and I just got to call it for what it was. the Saints were a pathetic franchise during this time, and they were just so desperate to try to find somebody that could kind of lift them out of the shadows. And the fact that Ricky Williams actually came to town, I feel like the organization, in combination with the fan base, really made it hard for Ricky Williams. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like, unless he ran 1,000 yards or something like that, everybody would have thought that, he would have been a bust if he didn't do that. And I think that if the Saints would have not got Ricky Williams and used that on somebody else that could have possibly, been a contributor to the team and used some of those draft picks to make the team better, then I think the Saints would have still been a much better team. But Ricky Williams, I feel like he found himself like in a Miami Dolphins uniform. He was a much better player with Miami than he was with New Orleans. And he was even really good when it came to the Baltimore Ravens later in his career. So he had a really decent career. You know what I'm saying? He never lost his speed. You know what I'm saying? He never lost his power and anything like that. So, I thought that Ricky Williams had a really okay, respectable career. So, I mean,
Yeah.
And it looks like his life after football, he seems happy and everything like that. So that's a plus. Tim says, once again, Tim, thank you for the $5. Canadian, by the way. Thanks for sharing, guys. I'm a Nigerian living in Toronto, but I felt something when the Saints won their first game back in the Superdome. Oh, yeah, man. Tim, yeah, that was a real humbling and very emotional moment for a lot of people. I think that every Saints fan in the world was in the Superdome that night. Whether you had a ticket or not. You remember those games, man. Shouts out to Coach Charles Alexander from the Fellowship Foundation when I was a young middle schooler going to Charles J. Coach. You remember we used to go to some of those playing Green Wave games for free. And you remember like when we used to go to, the Superdome and stuff like that. So you know what it meant, to actually go to a game, even though it wasn't a Saints game, it was actually being in the Superdome, being able to walk up the ramp and being in the same atmosphere as the Saints. So we were in the Superdome that night in 2006. So it was a great moment. What did that moment mean to you, man? That came back after the dream.
Man, I don't know what's a bigger moment in Saints history. The Super Bowl in 2009 or that moment.
Yeah.
You go ask 20 Saints, go ask 20 Saints fans what's the bigger moment. And I would be shocked if you have 10 or 15 that might say that day in 2006 when they went back to the Superdome or whatever. I mean, I'd like the Saints history or whatever.
Absolutely.
From that stemmed the statue of Steve Gleason blocking that kick. I mean, it don't matter who would have played that year. We would have beat them. It don't matter who it was. It just so happened to have a misfortune to be Michael Vick and the Falcons or whatever. Man, I'm surprised we only scored 23 points in that game, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I mean, let's go like 40 but like you said, every Saints fan who was still, who was alive and in the city or outside the city. I was in Tennessee at the time. Mm-hmm. Watching that game, I mean, you caught chills when Green Day and you two got together to sing the song. Then you see Mike Tirico announce it, then the dude block that kick and the low in the end zone. I mean, all of that. You like chills when you think about it. I'm like, watch that tonight. Effect, shoot.
Yo, E, they messing with you now. They said, hey, boy, E, you got that Metro PCS mic over there.
Man, how you know? I got my Bluetooth in or whatever. They can barely hear me.
Yeah, it's like a little static here a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's probably what they're talking about. Like when you talk, you can hear like almost like a static or a feedback.
So, give me some more earphones then.
TJ, remember when Deuce McAllister had that long 76-yard run against Atlanta and he fumbled at the goal line? Oh man, I mean, they had some dark moments in New Orleans Saints history, man. I mean, you can just do a top 10 or a top 20 on some of those moments, man, which we probably end up doing we might end up doing a bracket on the worst stage moments in history, man. You know, I don't know, man. We might.
It'll take you about a week to get to that Final Four right there.
Right.
Just on stuff in the 90s. Shoot.
Yeah, it was terrible stuff at that time, man. But E, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna ask you one more question before we get up out of here, man. I'm gonna give you the final thoughts. The primary focus was Cam Jordan tonight. How do you think that Cam Jordan will do this 2020 season? Do you think that he will be able to replicate his 15 and a half sacks, or do you think he'll take it to another level this season?
I'm gonna make a bold prediction right here. Mm-hmm. I think he won't have 15.5 sacks. Mm-hmm. I think you were just talking about him. I think he will be Defensive Player of the Year. Mm-hmm. I think he has something like 18 sacks or something like that. Mm-hmm. I think the defense will play better. That's probably going to depend on like injuries and stuff like that. But right. I think he's Defensive Player of the Year. I think Alvin Kamara, I think he's going to have a good year. Mm-hmm. This fight that they have, Treshman, I believe that's his last name.
Trotman.
Trotman. I think he's going to have a pretty good year.
Right.
I think a good year for him would be like 20 or 30 catches, right? And I think they're going to use 2 tight ends more this year because Drew Brees can't throw the ball really downfield. That's going to counteract them not having to use 3, 4, 5 receivers. Right. So you can have 2 or 3 receivers with 2 tight ends. I think he's going to get some playing time somewhere. Right. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. But as far as Cam Jordan, I think he's going to be the Defensive Player of the Year. I really do think so. At worst, NFC Defensive Player of the Year.
Wow.
But he's consistent. I mean, look at Cam Jordan. He's going to have 7, 8 sacks. Right. The dude, he kind of similar to Michael Thomas. He's always working. He won't stop till he's the best at his position.
Right.
He never miss game. He never take plays off. So those are the kind of people that want to be Defensive Players of the Year and stuff like that. Yeah. I'm just gonna knock on wood that the injuries don't stop him. But I think he will be Defensive Player of the Year this year.
Wow. I mean, that's a bold prediction. You know, me personally, I feel like I don't think he's going to have 15 and a half sacks, and I don't think he's going to be Defensive Player of the Year. But I think he's going to have a very solid season. I think he's probably going to, I think he will have double-digit sacks like he does every season. And I think that he will be like the anchor of the defense like he's been over the past 3 to 4 years. You know what I'm saying? So I think that Cam Jordan is one of the most underappreciated players in the NFL. It's good to know that people are starting to wake up and realize how good he is. It's good that he's getting that acknowledgement that I feel like he deserves. But I think they need to consider him to be Defensive Player of the Year if he has another solid season. And if you combine that with the fact that the Saints end up winning double digits and they don't miss the playoffs. The Saints, I think, if I'm not mistaken, got about 5 primetime games or games that can be considered America's Game of the Week. So Cam Jordan has an opportunity for a lot of eyes to be on him, especially playing in a division now with Tom Brady. That's going to bring a lot of attention to the NFC South. So if he has another solid season similar to what he did last season, I mean, I wouldn't say it would be far-fetched that he wins Defensive Player of the Year. But I got to say, man, that might be a little bit of a stretch, especially like some of these defensive players out here and how, like you said, nostalgia plays a vital role in the attention that some of these teams get, even though the Saints want to be on TV quite a bit. But I want to say thank you very much to everybody in the chat, and thank you to everybody for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. I want to thank my big brother, EJ. Thank you very much, man, for checking out the podcast with us. E, thank you so much for being a part of the podcast. Let everybody know how they can get in touch with
you. Get in touch with me at Emmanuel Jones Sr. At Facebook, on Twitter, Instagram. I'm on TikTok now. Almost anywhere with it.
Right.
They have some more websites, but primarily Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, those areas. I'm following the same my art thing. So
yeah, man, make sure you plug your art, man. Plug your art website.
Oh, as far as my art website, yeah, EmmanuelJonesArt.com. If you need a commission done, paint parties, I do paint parties. If you need just anything, I can do murals too. So if you need anything done, that could be Emmanuel Jones Art. Be on Twitter, Instagram. I'm always like posting stuff on them, but the website is emmanueljonesart.com.
Yeah, man. Y'all check them out, man. Y'all need some artwork done. You need anything done, you know what I'm saying, as far as like murals, pictures itself, weddings or something like that. You want to surprise your wife or your husband, you know what I'm saying, with a portrait, man. Hit them up. There's one Mr. Tupa for our Jewish community out there, man. So y'all look them up, ejonesart.com. But this has been the State of the Saints podcast, man. Y'all subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com, search The State of the Saints podcast. Facebook.com, search The State of the Saints podcast. Y'all already know the audio version is available on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast listen on. I'm pretty sure we're there. And also you can access the State of the Saints podcast by using Alexa, excuse me. So all you got to do is say, Alexa, play the State of the Saints podcast, and you'll get the most recent episode. So thank you all very much once again. This has been the State of the Saints podcast. I'm TJ Jones, and all I got to say is, who dat?